guys. Today is May the 11th, 2024. We're gonna see another march today, another rally around the city of Edmonton here in Alberta. And there's gonna be a speech, and we unite, of course, to the manifestations and the rallies and the peoples around the world, especially Madrid right now, and London, everywhere around the world. The universities are coming to understand that this is a very serious issue and cannot be postponed. And yeah, we're going to march until Israel is taken to court, and like I'm asking, a Nuremberg against Israel, the United States and all its accomplices. So as you can see, we're getting ready. We're going to see the discourse, and some important imam is coming today, so it's going to be fun. Again, in solidarity for the 1948 Convention on Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. So yeah, we won't stop until Israel is taken to court. Very well organized. More and more people coming today. It's going to be an important march, an important rally here in Edmonton, Alberta. From Edmonton to the rest of the world, we unite with the protests in Madrid, as we have seen yesterday and today, in Madrid, Spain. People are getting united. The cause for Palestine is changing the world. We have to be part of history, and we want to be on the right side of it. So this is just one of the examples that the world is telling us, the country and the world, to go forward and to find and finally find accountable Israel for the crime and punishment, of course, of genocide according to the Convention of 1948.
So, my experience of the encampment, I was there almost the whole time. Warm, I'm a Jewish person, completely safe for Jewish people, non-aggressive, presenting clear demands to the university from students and other community members that their own money going to the university not go to unjust sources. They wanted transparency, they want divestment from companies that are complicit in occupation, in apartheid and genocide. The university never engaged on those demands. At first, the university took a very clear line. They would sometimes ask me to go out to talk to campus security because they were very worried about their vulnerability as students at the university, so I was happy to play that role. And for the first day at least, over and over, campus security said, we will not close down this encampment unless there is violence in the encampment. And even when Frank Page, the lead security officer, told me in one of these meetings, we are going to be sending trespass notice, but please know this changes nothing. So for a time, it was very clearly communicated from the university that as long as there was no violence in the encampment, they were going to try and do things this way. Then Calgary was cleared. Then Premier Smith approved of what was done in Calgary and asked what lessons University of Alberta was going to learn from Calgary, and that's when things completely reversed. At that point, there was no more discussion from the university security side. They simply said, you have to go. We said, what is the time frame? Not talking about it, you have to go. We said, what will happen if the students are not willing to leave? Not talking about it, you have to go. So a refusal to even communicate. In fact, another professor and I'm a professor at the university, said, are there any concerns about safety or things that can be addressed by the camp? Not talking about it, you have to go. I'll just say one more thing about the pretense that the university created. Safe encampment, kind encampment. They said there were pallets in the encampment, wooden pallets, which were a fire risk and could be used to build enclosure barriers, I'm not sure. Those were maybe 5 pallets that had been brought in by students, so if it rained hard, they wouldn't be in the water. When students learned that those were considered a fire risk, they actually were taken out of the encampment. They were gone 8 hours before the encampment was cleared. So, as a professor at the university, a Jewish person who supports the cause of these campers, I am outraged and devastated that rather than the university saying, this is a legitimate protest, it is asking legitimate questions on which we will engage, and meanwhile, these are our students. This is actually a rich learning situation for these students. I was so proud of the students who were leading this as a political science professor, but instead called in the police, violently displaced the encampment, and in fact they have threatened penalties under the Student Code of Discipline. And as the encampment was being cleared, Frank Page, the security representative from the university, said everyone here is banned from campus for 1 year. What does that mean to a student who's studying? What does that mean to someone in residence? I'm a professor, I was there, I don't even know what it means for me. So the university needs to pull back those threats immediately, needs to apologize for displacing this legitimate student protest, and there needs to be accountability and there needs to be a very different approach.
And so is this rally march today in response to that?
This is a weekly march. It moves from between different locations in the city, but the whole community, some of whom were there, some of whom were not, of Palestinians, of people in solidarity with Palestine, have turned this on a dime because what happened was outrageous, violent, disproportionate, and dishonest. And so this rally, I am sure, will be addressing what has just happened, which as a member of the university community, as a citizen, and someone in solidarity with Palestine, is so far over the line. And there will be such outrage from the student community, the faculty community, and others at the University of Alberta that the university called in the police on its own students, pretended there was a safety risk when there was none, and refused to be accountable to its own community, instead choosing to bring in armed police to displace members of that community.
What does that tell to you, that kind of reaction as well, that it just kind of showed up, I guess?
I think it shows something about who the university considers itself to be accountable to. I think they consider themselves to be accountable to loud voices on the political right who criticize them. Do that, bring some trolls out, bring some pro-Israel organizations out who are going to make spurious claims of threat or anti-Semitism, and boom, they will disavow members of their community and they will stand by and let them be punished or punish them themselves.
Are you able to speak on what the president put out this morning when he mentioned, or that he said most protesters are allowed to leave peacefully? It sounds like you're saying sort of the opposite.
If you call moving away to not be hit with a baton or arrested in the face of an advancing line of heavily armed riot police, maybe that's leaving peacefully. But no, everyone wanted to stay, were chanting together, were seeking to hold their ground, but also think about what a student is risking. If they sit in an encampment, with legitimate demands. They are risking their academic career. They're risking arrest. As older people, we need to ask, what would lead highly educated young people to be willing to risk that much? We could also ask ourselves, every other major student demonstration movement across North America, Iraq War, apartheid, Vietnam War, who turned out to be right? The students. So we will look back on this with shame. The university will look back on this with shame, or it will look back on it and pretend they were on the student side.
And it also said that only about a quarter of the encampment was affiliated with the university. Are you able to speak at all on that and what the
I
composition
don't know
was
where
like?
they came up with that number. Many of the people at the encampment were University of Alberta alumni, who the university often falls over itself to say, these people are part of the community, can we have your dollars, please? Suddenly they weren't students, they weren't faculty. The university also falls over itself to say, we are a public university that serves the community. We make links with the community. We are connected to the community. Why are they turning around now and saying we don't want community members here? They're not legitimate. It's a public university. All of the people there were peaceful. All of the people there were advancing reasonable demands. To come out now with percentages
Hello, everybody.
that our university
Please ignore all agitators. Please ignore all agitators. They are known agitators trying to get you to respond to them on video.
Anything else? Yeah.
Davey, mind if I grab that swamp?
No, I'm keeping it.